Hey, this is Steve Gunn with Premier Guitars Big Five. What's my favorite guitar? Currently, I've been playing a new guitar. It's made by a guitar maker from Hawaii. His name's Justin Dillard. It's a 14 fret double O, slotted headstock, kind of a wider neck. The top is rosewood. The sides are East Indian rosewood. For me, it's perfect. I was in touch with Justin for a while, and he reached out and said he wanted to make me a guitar, and we talked about specifics, and I talked about my style of playing and where I'm kind of at as far as like what I needed out of an acoustic, which was like I kind of needed a wider neck, and I really just aesthetically I really always loved the slotted headstock, and it was a lot of back and forth, and then he started making it. He said he had some special wood, and he had all these design ideas and was running things by me, and of course all of his ideas were amazing. He even did this like pearl inlay here with my last name and there's this sort of leaf that's this, like, it's a symbol of the clan that my name comes from in Scotland, and there's my name here that he inlaid so perfectly. All the details are just incredible. I kind of go through guitars and kind of get exhausted by them and seek inspirations from other ones, and this one has been like, it came at the right time, and I've been playing it every day and been writing on it and really, really love it. I have a lot of guitars. I have a lot of electrics. I have a lot of acoustics. I have a lot of guitars that have sentimental value. I have guitars that I've spent a lot of time with on the road that are special to me. But as far as like someone being there every step of the way and having input on all the different details, and also the maker was offering advice, this would sound great paired with this, etc. So was this really careful construction of a guitar. Specifically with an acoustic, I felt like I finally came to a place where I needed some specific things, and Justin reached out to me at the right time. I'm really grateful, and it's super special. What's my Desert Island album? It changes, and I used to say the same thing all the time, but I think the past 2 years I've gone I found myself going to this one record, and it's by Harold Budd and Brian Eno, and it's called The Pearl. And Daniel Lanois also produced it and plays on it. I really love Brian Eno's music and that whole sort of ambient series, and the sort of cross pollinations of different players throughout that whole series. A lot of the time when I'm at home, I put on music that I can sort of do other things to, or even sit down and read, or just generally relax. And this album really fits that mood, and it's also an album that I can put on and listen to closely, or listen to it from a distance. It's this sort of really beautiful atmosphere, and it's super delicate playing, and it's kind of a deep listen. My biggest guitar culture pet peeve. I think sometimes effects can get a little out of control. And this might be a default of mine and not many other people, but I think sometimes there's just too much, and you can end up spending an excessive amount of money on all these different effects, and sometimes it takes away from tone, and it takes away from, I mean, obviously it helps with tone as well, but for me, I've kind of found that, like, you go and you read these message boards and watch these demos and stuff, and you end up spending like hundreds or thousands of dollars on gear, and suddenly you have this enormous pedal board, And I realized that I didn't need all of that stuff. And the tone comes from different places. The tone comes from the pickups in your guitar or the acoustics of your guitar, of course. The tone also has a lot to do with volume. It has a lot to do with your amp. So I don't know if it's a pet peeve, but it's just something I've learned, that fancy pedals don't improve your playing or your ear. Some of them are great, of course, and I have my favorites. I'm just not like a pedal freak. Can I add another one as well? And I think it's a classic one, is the Snark. The Snark tuner like clipped onto the end of the guitar, like during the performance. I just don't think it's the best look. I love Snarks and I lose them all the time. And I always need Snark batteries, but I always make a point to like not have it. It's just a thing of mine, I think if you're about to perform, you should probably tune up, and if you need it in between, maybe pop it on, but it has a spring for a reason. So just clip it off, and it's just an aesthetic thing for me. What guitar hero of mine would shock fans? I don't know if this is a huge shock, but I've been in a real period of really loving Django Reinhardt. He's one of the greatest guitar players who ever lived. I listened to his music a lot, and I recently saw a concert of Django's music, and I just decided to kind of figure out what was happening and how it works. And I started going down this rabbit hole of looking at players online and watching YouTube instructions or people just playing the tunes. And it's been really helpful to me to see how they're constructing chords and their reference points and the different fingerings, and also to kind of understand just what Django was trying to do and how incredible it still is to this day. What's my secret weapon? I think, I have to say, I was just talking about my pet peeve as far as like extremely huge pedal boards, but I'll have to say that one of my secret weapons is an effects pedal that I just really rely on and love, and it became a part of my sound because a lot of I've been performing quite a bit solo, and I play acoustic, and but I also have effects, so I play through an amp, and then I use a DI and go through a clean sort of sound. So it's like a blend. And with the effects, I really like subtle modulation, and I like tape saturation, but I don't have, an original kind of tape machine up on my pedal board. So I use this Strymon pedal, the El Capistan. Performing acoustically when it's amplified can be extremely tricky. So this pedal really helps me just add a little bit of like tape delay to the amp that's kind of like rounding out the sound, because I also am really wary of just an acoustic sound through a sound hole pickup, or like a pickup that's inside with microphones and all that stuff, piezios and everything. It's all great, but sometimes the tone it's not real. It's very synthetic sounding. So I tried to kind of blend this amp tone with that acoustic, and this is really the key for me. This pedal is really key for me in making that blend. Greetings from the fine star. How you pictured it.